Hi, welcome to MJP Music Writer. My name is Matthijs Pinaar, Matt for short. I'm a professional orchestrator, arranger, composer, and I'm here to help you. Today you are watching part 2 of 5 ways to make your arrangement instantly better. If you have not seen part 1, please do go watch part 1 because the 5 tips are equally good there and it will help you a lot. Alright, tip number 1. Today I'm going to teach you how to think differently about indoor and outdoor use. So think sound waves. Now, what are you talking about when I say indoor and outdoor use? It's simple. When you have an acoustic band, doesn't matter if it's a 10-piece band or a 120-piece band, intently when you write the music, you would consider, am I writing to play this in the Royal Albert Hall or Carnegie Hall? Or am I writing this to be heard outdoors, maybe a marching band of some sort, or maybe a sit-down band, but outdoors that's unamplified? You have to think differently about these two things. Right, so let's just quickly run down. On the indoor side, are there good acoustics? If there are good acoustics, then anything goes. Because if you can have a full symphony orchestra or a full symphonic wind band, and you only have 2 or 3 clarinets playing, it will still work because every note of every instrument will obviously be audible in a hall with good acoustics, so nothing to worry about here. Outdoor is a little different. Now, again, these days we have technology that they didn't have like maybe 50 plus years ago. Is every player amplified? Then anything still goes because you can have a flute player with a good sound engineer. That flute player playing a solo above a full orchestra or a full wind band, if he or she is mic'd up, won't be a problem. So if your sound is proper, then you don't have much of a problem. But when it's not amplified, then we have to talk orchestration. Because outdoor and indoor orchestration makes a huge difference. I made the mistake in the beginning, and many people do, that you just write music for what works. In the beginning, I was not working with computers. I started doing arranging and orchestration when it was still just a pencil and a paper and a piano. Later, in the beginning of the 90s, I've learned Finale and I started working computers as some kind of a reference. As you can imagine, the sounds and the balance wasn't as anywhere near as good as it is now. Nowadays, you have things like Note Performer and Florico and Sibelius and Finale are doing a fantastic job. I mean, there are other programs are doing a fantastic job at giving you a very, very close to the original sound. But back then, you didn't have that. You heard music and you had your clarinet trio playing in 3 voices with maybe a flute or oboe or something above that in the melody. And it sounded okay on computer, and you got outside and you played that, and the whole band is fantastic, and you play all just waiting for their turn to play, and the audience couldn't hear because it does not work. You have to think differently about that. So I'm going to show you just a little bit. So you have your outdoor band. Now there was this guy, you know him? Ta-da-da-da. Ludwig van Beethoven. He started this actually. He used orchestral density. As a density, it refers to the number of instruments playing at once, creating powerful dynamic shifts. So he started this especially when you think about the Eroica Symphony and the Ninth Symphony, very, very, very well known. You know it very well. Go listen to that symphony. Go really listen. It's all over YouTube. You'll find multiple recordings of it of different orchestras. Fantastic, fantastic thinking at the time, way ahead of his time. And he literally went and he decided, okay, no, I'm not going to let all the first violins play. I'm going to play half discs, or I'm going to play the front 6, or 8 of them, or 10 of them, or 12 of them. He made differences in orchestral density, and it makes a huge, huge, huge difference. He had such great dynamic shifts. Does it mean he did not write any dynamics? No, of course he did. And remember now we're talking about Beethoven, we're not necessarily talking about somebody that in the beginning was writing for outdoors. These orchestras played indoors very much, but he did start the whole idea that you can use orchestration Just orchestrate thicker for louder and orchestrate thinner for softer. It's the simplest thing. Then there was this guy, Tchaikovsky. Now, I mean, Tchaikovsky was born, I think, about 3 years after Beethoven passed away. Tchaikovsky didn't know Beethoven personally, but he admired his work and he was influenced by his work. And everybody knows what he did. You know, the 1812 overture was a very, very outdoor overture, huge church bells and cannons. I mean, he composed it, it wasn't performed right away. And the Symphony Number 4 similar. Tchaikovsky just built on this whole idea that you can use different orchestration and density to have better dynamics and wider dynamics, a wider difference between pianissimo and fortissimo. Okay, Tchaikovsky had 4 Fs. As a trumpet player, we love that. Wasn't so nice for the people sitting in front of us. I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, so let's talk about dynamics. What are you going to use when you do outdoors? Yes, you still use dynamics and you use density. So let's just talk about that. On the dynamic side, for outdoor use, can you write triple P? Yes, you can. Can you write fortissimo or triple F? Yes, you can. So look at density. On the right-hand side, I just gave you one page of my Andromeda Rhapsody, just to see. So page 14 of my Andromeda Rhapsody, you can see on the left-hand side, in the 3 squares I gave you there, it's orchestrated extremely thin. Can't exactly remember that, but I think we like mezzo piano over here, a little bit of crescendo, building up to the next piece, and just look on the right-hand side of the page. Can you see the difference in orchestration? The density is a whole lot more. And there's a whole lot. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but if you look at the first block, second block, over here, and even all the violins, there's a lot of different colors playing the same thing or the same rhythms. But it is so strong. It makes it so powerful, the thick orchestration. Would this work indoors and outdoors? I don't know. I think I meant this for indoors. But it shows you different densities. If you want to know what page 14 of Andromeda Rhapsody sound like, please, it's on the same channel. Just go and have a look. It's one of my compositions I enjoyed very much to do. So which one do you use? Use both. That's what we're saying. I'll explain a little bit. I happen to have worked with a particular military band for 25 years, roughly. Now, what we frequently did as a test, and we frequently did even in performances, you have the military band standing at the back of a big open space, like a parade ground. And we tell the musicians, your ceiling today for this particular performance, because we want background music, is just mezzo piano. That's the loudest you're allowed to go. Nothing louder than mezzo piano. Mezzo piano is literally for person or people, the musicians that have a melody. Everybody else stick to P and double P. So you change the bracket for everything. Now what we found, and I've heard this hundreds of times, what we found, you could stand 50, 60, 100 meters away from the band. Full band playing at that dynamic level. Interesting. You hear every individual instrument in the band. You can hear every part. Second clarinet, third clarinet, second alto saxophone, horn 3, trumpet 2, name it. You hear everything at that volume. The moment they start playing fortissimo, a lot of the instruments will be masked. But when they play this soft, you hear everything. It is absolutely beautiful. The orchestration must be clever. You can't decide because you want softer now. You only want 4 or 5 people out of 50 to play. No. You let 50 play, but you let them play softly. You will not believe how well that soft sound carries. It's a completely different tone color, of course, and it is beautiful. If you have access to a band, you have to try it. You'll be pleasantly surprised. No one can hide. No one can play out of tune. Intonation has to be perfect. But it showed us the beautiful thing is we don't have to orchestrate thinner to get different volumes. You must just teach the musicians to do that. So I'm one that would use more dynamics than density to get different levels. The density is just to enhance it and to give me different tone colors. That's a completely different ballgame. I hope this helps. Number 2. There's a lot of people that do this when they start arranging. They say brass music is loud and reeds are soft. This is a common, terrible misperception, guys. I cannot emphasize this enough. It's a big no. Remember now, if you look at the first video I gave you about my first 5 tips, you remember the color wheel? And I was explaining about the different colors. Just imagine what you're doing if you say, okay, every time I want music to be soft, I'm going to give it to the reeds. And every time I want music to be loud, I'm going to give it to the brass, because in essence, they are a triumphant section. Essentially saying is, okay, every time I'm going to use just yellow for soft, and I'm going to use just red for loud. What about all the other colors? You're never going to get to the other colors. Please don't do that. I promise you, take a big brass group, trombones, euphonium, tuba, horns, trumpets. Give them pianissimo and let them play that. You will be so surprised the beautiful hymn-like colors they can give you. They actually have the ability to play softer in many cases than a woodwind section would be able to, because they are so strong. Consider that. So definitely brass loud, reed soft, big mistake. Don't do that. Ever. Do it on purpose if you want those colors, yes. But don't do it for the sake of being loud and soft. What do you do then? Think tone colors, first of all. That's what you should do. Think tone colors. What colors am I painting here? Paint a picture, tell a story. Think the density. More instruments will probably sound better, especially if it's outdoors. More instruments will probably sound better. You can do thin, 2-3 players. I mean, if you know the Mozart Farewell Symphony, you end up with one. You can do that. You can play indoors, you can play with few, but always think colors. What do I want my people to hear? What emotions do I want them to have? Here, there's the bottom one. Think about blending. I spoke in a previous video about blending and how I can blend different instruments to give you new colors. This is what you should consider. So I'm going to give you an example. I'm not going to do the whole video here. Please go on this channel. It was one of my older arrangements. I think I did it around 2006 for the trip that we had to do. It's the Aster Deer. It's a hymn, old hymn, that I did for full concert band. Listen with this tip in mind. Density, balance, blending, and then the blending of woodbines and brass. Go listen to it, close your eyes, put on good earphones, and hopefully it will help you understand the different colors you can get. Tip number 3. Sing to yourself. I cannot overemphasize this, guys. If you live in a small flat or a house with a lot of people, like I've been doing for a long time, it's interesting if you start singing to yourself. Maybe you're in the shower, or you're lying in a bathtub, or you're driving in a car. I listen to the music. So now I wrote some parts. I have a harmonic rhythm going, and I've got the melody going, and I play it a few times to myself. I don't go sit in front of the piano and start to figure out, okay, what must I add to this? Or what counter melody must I do here? What harmonies I must do there? Or how can I improvise on this? I sing. This is what I do. So you have your rhythm going and you start singing, just enjoying yourself. Whatever is happening, I was doing some jazz now. It could be classical. Doesn't matter. Sing what you want to hear. If you like it, go write it down immediately. You can even, if you're worried that you're not going to remember, take a phone, take something, record what you are singing while you're listening back to it. And if there's something that works, you got it. Just go write down what you're saying. It's simple. The amount of times I've done that. In fact, if you go listen to Free the Eagle, I can tell you a secret. Free the Eagle, I was nowhere near any musical instrument when I started to write that in my head. I heard it in my head. I started singing, and here we go. Go listen to it. You'll understand. Tip number 4. I don't want to do any branding and do anything wrong. But maybe know a brand that says, just do it. It's really that simple. Guys, don't sit in front of your computer or in front of your paper with your pencil and be too scared to write. You're not sure, will this work? Will this not work? Just start doing it. It's like when you want to make food and you're standing in front of a pot with half the ingredients in the pot and the rest, I'm not sure if you should put it in. You're going to have the half the pot all done and never get to the point where you actually finish your meal. Just do it. just go right. If you didn't like it, there's an undo button. If you didn't like that, or you don't like the undo button, just go delete what didn't work. You have to make mistakes. You know what Thomas Edison said when they asked him? I mean, it's in some of the movies I've heard. They asked him, "Now, why did you fail 3,000 times when you tried to make a light bulb?" He said, "No, I didn't fail. All I did was innovate 3,000 ways how not to make a light bulb, and then I made a light bulb." Just do it. Just get started. Just get going. This is how we will improve. Get the hours. Tip number 5. Use instrumental cues. Do your instrumental cues. Now, what am I talking about here? I mean, and how can instrumental cues improve an arrangement? Because instrumental cues are just notes that are already there. I'm just writing it smaller for somebody else. That's what instrumental cues are. Yep, it will give you better music. Reason number 1, why would you write instrumental cues? To help that guy, Billy. I'm just joking about Billy. It could be any other name. We're just joking about, we had a guy called Billy a long time ago, and I honor him, so you wouldn't mind that I use his name. Help Billy count. You know, this guy that's sitting there maybe on a second flute, or he's waiting for his turn to play the triangle, and he's going 172, 2, 3, 4, 173, 2, 3, hang on, 170, where am I now? And he's waiting there in anticipation, perspiring his guts out because he's not sure if he's going to do his triangle or his timpani roll on the right place. So give Billy a cue. There's more than 20, 30 bars rest. Give him a cue. You can watch out for a cue. Here it comes, here it comes. Okay, confidence, here I go. Drum roll. No problem. That's the first reason. So if people have long rests, long periods of rest in the music, help the guy. I hate to think what the tuba player in the New World Symphony would feel like, playing 13 notes in a whole symphony. It must be terrible. Number 2, the other reason for cues, and this is the important one, this is where you will really improve. It will significantly increase the chances your arrangement will work in the future. So what am I saying? So you did this arrangement, you did everything you have to, it sounds beautiful, and if you hand it out to the band or the orchestra tomorrow, it's going to be fantastic. Now, you get to that one concert where your lead oboe player is ill, or your lead trumpet player or somebody is having a flat tire on his way to the concert and he's late or he can't get there for some reason. There's 1,000 reasons musicians can't attend it, and sometimes at really, really, really short notice. So if you have cues, it's simple. So what I do is I finish my arrangement. And as I showed in the previous video, I spend a lot of time on finishing, make sure all, like the T's are crossed and the I's have dots on, similar thing. Did I give everyone all the dynamics and all the articulation I wanted to give them? And then I go through the parts. And now I have a section where the third and the fourth horn is not playing at all, maybe for 32 bars. But the saxophones are playing, and they have important parts there, and I can see, okay, if these parts are in a similar range to the horn, through the horns. Why? So on the day when the saxophones are not there, the parts are covered. Simple as that. Go cue as far as you can. I mean, it goes without saying, I would cue like a bass clarinet to a bassoon, or a bassoon to a bass clarinet, or a euphonium to a cello, or similar instruments with similar sounds. Oboe cue, best instrument is a muted trumpet, concertino. It's beautiful. The trumpet can imitate an oboe very, 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 very quickly if he has to, and the other way around as well. Take time, do a lot of cues. It's not only for a missing person, it's also for that case where this piece maybe works fantastic inside, but you're playing it outdoors and it's a bit windy and the band is a bit on the thin side, and you just tell everyone, listen guys, we're outdoors, we're not amplified, everyone play all the cues, and immediately your piece is stronger because the density is stronger. Take time, consider your cues, do them cleverly. Obviously, it doesn't help you cue a flute to a trumpet and it's out in the stratosphere way too high. You have to do it cleverly, but you can do it. Sometimes an octave up or octave below, doesn't matter. It's so easy these days with the computers. It's much easier than it used to be on paper. Spend time with this. Well, that's all for today. I hope the next 5 tips also helped you a lot. please go back and watch part 1 if you haven't. Of course, it will help you. And then subscribe and do the like and do the bell, so you can have a reminder when I do the next video, because I'm going to do more videos and I'm going to help you. It's Matt signing off for today. Enjoy your day.